friends. Welcome to today's video. I am interested to see how you like the audio of this video. I am testing out a different microphone today. I typically use the Blue Yeti microphone, but I personally also enjoy listening to ASMR videos that use like the lo-fi microphones, and typically that is like the mini microphone or the lapel microphone. So that is what I am testing out today. So let me know how you feel about this audio. Okay, so for our case today, I have decided to cover a case that is a little bit more modern, I would say, than some of the previous cases that I've done. Today we are going to be talking about a tragic murder that was discovered through TikTokers. So before we jump into the video, let's just get our housekeeping out of the way first. As usual, in the comment section down below, I will put a pinned comment with 3 cases that I am interested in covering. I always appreciate your vote, so I know which one to focus on first. And then second, if you feel so inclined to do so, I would greatly appreciate if you like, comment, and or subscribe. Okay, so let's jump into this TikTok murder case. So, can you imagine walking around on the beach with your teenage friends, having a harmlessly fun afternoon, only to come across a grisly discovery that would change your life forever? These teen girls were using an app called Randonautica on their phones, and this app was designed to essentially generate different random coordinates that the user can then journey to this spot and explore the area. And in doing so, they are able to embark on their very own adventure wherever they are. This became a popular app to use, and many people would film themselves while they used it and then post it on TikTok or other social media platforms, hoping to get viral views, depending on what they found. I had never heard of this app before researching this case, and I'm really not someone that uses TikTok all that much, I will say. I do watch some videos on TikTok, but it's probably the social media platform I am the least familiar with, so maybe that's why I wasn't familiar with this inside, which I think is only normal. However, as you can likely guess, that is not what would be enclosed in this suitcase. What they would find would be nothing short of horrific. So, on June 19th, 2020, the dismembered bodies of 27-year-old Austin Wenner, who went by the nickname of Cash, and 35-year-old Jessica Lewis were found in the black suitcase on Alki Beach. Their remains were wrapped in garbage bags. And stuffed in this suitcase. Now, as the teen girls approached the suitcase, their hopes of finding something exciting quickly changed as they began to smell a terrible odor coming from the suitcase, and it was unlike anything they had ever smelled before. Out of both curiosity and fear, one of the teen girls opened the suitcase and realized that something terrible was inside. One of the girls in the group would film the discovery while the other called the police, realizing that they needed help immediately. This group of girls would put together a compilation of their video clips and narrate the harmless moments leading up to finding this washed up suitcase, as well as what they found inside. However, they would wait to post the video until June 20th, which was the following day for reasons unknown. They waited to post long after they had called the police, and investigators were already on the case. Many question and wonder why the police allowed them to do it. And as a side note, this video was taken off of TikTok months after the discovery and months after it had been posted, per the request of the victims' families. However, up until the time of the removal, the video had already gone viral and accrued over 30 million views. Initially, TikTok refused to remove the video, stating that the contents did not breach any of their guidelines, according to an interview with Jessica's aunt, Gina Jaschke, but eventually it would be taken down. So for this next part of the video, I am going to read some of the transcription that was narrated in this TikTok video for viewers based on what I found in my research. So the first line is, quote, "We found The eerie footage shows a girl walking over to the suitcase as a friend in the background yells, quote, "Open it, it stinks," end quote. And then at this point, a girl is then seen cautiously using a stick to pry open the luggage, which contains a black plastic bag. And then in the video, a caption is entered stating, quote, "As soon as she opened it, the smell was overwhelming," end quote. And then the last part of the video that I was able to kind of pick apart says, quote, "By this point, we were getting a little scared and nervous," end quote. So, after this suitcase is discovered, the teen girls would later return to the beach to film the police at the scene of the discovery, which was near 1100 Alki Avenue Southwest in Seattle, Washington. And on the evening of June 19th of 2020, the Seattle Police Department would confirm the discovery. A news release read, quote, "Detectives are currently investigating after several bags containing human remains were located near the water in the 1100 block of Alki Avenue Southwest this afternoon." Police responded after receiving a call of a suspicious bag on the beach. Another bag was located in the water. Once the contents were determined to be remains, detectives responded to begin their investigation. Harbor Patrol is assisting on the call, and detectives will work closely with the King County Medical Examiner's Office as the investigation proceeds. This remains an active and ongoing investigation. So, at the time that this press release was put out to the public, the identity and possible cause of death of the victims remained unknown. Residents were interviewed by the local news outlets, and many people reported feeling unnerved by the discovery and completely in shock that something so gruesome happened so close to home. As the investigation started, both police and the victims' families were desperate to know why this happened and who was responsible. So let's talk about the actual victims. Austin, again also known as Cash, and Jessica had been together for about 8 years and were taking care of Jessica's 4 children from a previous relationship. Their friends and family all described them as a strong and happy couple that, despite difficulties they faced, were able to deal with whatever came their way. Jessica Jessica was described as a ray of sunshine, a very caring and loving person, while Austin was described as kind, faithful, and an outdoorsy guy. There are unconfirmed reports that Austin had a drug possession charge at some point, but what is confirmed is that he had a couple of misdemeanor charges, like one of which was for crossing at a red light. And typically running a red light is not an immediate misdemeanor by any means, so I'm not entirely sure, like, if there were multiple traffic violations. I'm really not sure, and it was hard to get clarification, so I am just gonna say that this is all up for speculation, that part right there. But in other words, whether or not they were like misdemeanors on his record, there was nothing in the couple's life that suggested someone would want to harm or kill them. Now, Jessica's aunt, Gina, was quoted saying that their family could hardly bear knowing what the couple must have endured in the time leading up to the death. She would tell news sources that her niece, Jessica, worked with adults with disabilities and had a big heart and was the most caring person. In general, she described the couple as nice, normal people and was quoted saying, "Nobody deserves what happened to them." At this point in the investigation, the heartbroken families would offer a $10,000 reward to anyone who could provide information saying that somebody knows something. And according to the medical examiner, both Austin and Jessica had been killed days before their remains were discovered. The medical examiner concluded that Jessica died around June 16th from multiple gunshot wounds, while Austin had been murdered likely on the same day from one gunshot wound to the torso. But who did this and why? People would initially speculate that TikTok could have had something to do with the murders due to the coincidence of the teenagers finding the bodies. But those speculations were quickly debunked by police. And it's around this time that a more reliable suspect caught their eye as they looked deeper into the couple's lives. 62-year-old Michael Lee Dudley of Burien was Austin and Jessica's landlord. He rented a residence to the couple, and they allegedly struggled to pay the $1,500 monthly rent, which began to anger Michael. According to investigators, Austin and Jessica's neighbors reportedly heard a loud argument from inside the house around the time of their murders. Allegedly, Michael Dudley wanted the couple to move out, and at some point, neighbors say they heard a male voice pleading, quote, "Just let me leave. Please don't do this," end quote. And shortly after, the neighbors heard gunshots. And this is what supposedly happened days before the TikTokers found the suitcase. During the investigation, Michael Dudley's ex-girlfriend, Marley Gordon, who dated him for years off and on from 2002 to 2016, was interviewed. She said that even though she couldn't believe that Michael would do something so horrific, she did know that there was an evil side to Michael. She would tell police that she was once the victim of a violent streak when he assaulted her. And she was quoted saying, "He had started to hit me and grab my hair and my head, and he threw me on the floor and hit my head into the hardwood floor. He threw me and my stuff on his patio out the door and came out and hit my head on the patio. And he did that with one hand and held a gun in another hand," end quote. She recalls this incident in 2016 that led Michael to being arrested and charged with assault. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but from my perspective, if someone is capable of being as violent as she just described, it's not that far-fetched to imagine that that same person could escalate to murder. So, with all of this information, detectives decide to go to the house to look for evidence under a probable cause warrant. And when they went there, they found that it had recently been cleaned and painted. But fortunately, they were still able to find blood and bullet holes after searching the home. With this information that they were able to find at the home, they were able to arrest Michael Dudley and charge him with the second-degree murder of Austin and Jessica, with bail set at $5 million. On December 8th of 2022, so this was just a little over 1 month ago from the time that I'm recording this, Michael Dudley was found guilty by a King County jury. Family members of Jessica Lewis and Austin Wenner quietly cried as the verdicts were read after 1.5 days of jury deliberations and a 2-month trial before Superior Court Judge Amy Sutton. In addition to the 2 counts of second-degree murder, the jury of 10 men and 2 women also determined that Michael Dudley was armed with a firearm when he killed them, which is an enhancement that would add 10 years to his prison term when he is sentenced March 10th of 2023. So about 2 months from now, Michael Dudley will be sentenced. Now, interestingly, During closing arguments in the trial, Deputy Prosecutor Raymond Lee conceded that aside from the victim's remains, which showed that Jessica and Austin had been fatally shot, all of the state's evidence against Michael was circumstantial. Police never found the gun used in the murders, and only a small smudge of Austin's blood was found in the bedroom where investigators think that the couple's remains were dismembered. Deputy Prosecutor Lee stated, quote, "No crime is perfect, but the things he missed created a trail that led police directly to him," end quote. And he told jurors the state was not required to prove how or where the victims' bodies were dismembered, or if other people were involved in the dismemberment and disposal of their remains. And if I'm not mistaken, he mentions this because investigators believed that it was unlikely that this was a one-man job, but it was not proven one way or another. Defense attorney Bradley Barshes criticized the Seattle police investigation as shoddy and claimed that the attic to basement search of Michael Dudley's house by, quote, blood experts with the state patrol did not turn up any evidence other than the smudge of Austin's blood. Firearm experts also agreed that the bullets found in the bedroom did not go through a human body. At one point, defense attorney Barshes, who told jurors the average human body contains 5 liters of blood, lined up 5 2-liter bottles of Diet Coke on a ledge before the jury box, and he did this as a visual aid to show jurors how much blood would have been at the scene. Defense attorney Barshes said investigators' search tools, including cadaver dogs, were among the best available, but, quote, there just simply wasn't anything because nothing happened at my client's house, end quote. And also, just as a side note, no blood was found in Michael Dudley's vehicles either. Phone records played a large role in the state's case, but Barshes argued prosecutors cherry-picked which data to present to jurors, telling them the data was unreliable and that it's next to impossible to determine a person's location based on cell phone pings. Now, according to Deputy Prosecutor Lee, the phone records showed Jessica's cell phone, which she and Austin both used to stay in regular contact with their families and friends, went dark just after 7 p.m. on June 9th of 2020. Around the same time, neighbors called 911 and reported hearing gunshots coming from inside Michael Dudley's house on Ambom Boulevard South. Phone records showed Dudley's cell phone pinged off a tower near West Seattle's Alki Beach late on June 18th of 2020. The only time it did so in nearly 3 months' worth of records obtained by police, according to Deputy Prosecutor Lee. And immediately the next day after Michael's cell phone pinged off this tower, the group of teenagers would call 911 after finding a suitcase in the rocks and opening it with that stick while recording their TikTok video. A woman who briefly moved into Michael Dudley's house arrived late on the night that Jessica and Austin were killed. She would later tell police that Michael had scratches and his glasses, like his eyeglasses, were broken, according to Deputy Prosecutor Lee. And she would testify that she saw a human hand sticking up from a pile of clothes in the bedroom that Jessica and Austin had shared. However, according to testimony in the trial, it is said that at the time that she would have been in the home, the body would have been at a stage of rigor mortis that seeing a hand sticking up like that would actually be unreasonable given the timeline. So it's kind of odd and speculated what is true and what she actually saw. Now, Deputy Prosecutor Lee said this same woman, who saw several guns in a sink and ultimately got rid of the weapons for Michael Dudley, also photographed apparent bullet strikes to furniture in the same bedroom, where police would later discover 2 bullet holes, one of them patched with plumber's putty and painted over. Deputy Prosecutor Lee noted that police later found a can of plumber's putty on Michael's dresser. When Austin's father could not reach either he or Jessica, he went directly to Michael's house, and Michael told Austin's father that the couple had moved out. Austin's father would see a pile of clothes in the garbage that he knew belonged to Austin. Now, Deputy Prosecutor Lee would say at trial, quote, "We know they're not exactly flush with money, so why would they leave their personal belongings behind if they were moving out voluntarily?" End quote. By the time Michael was arrested on August 19th of 2020, he had 2 months and 10 days to clean up his home, which Deputy Prosecutor Lee would tell the jury. So basically, Michael would have had ample opportunity to dispose of any evidence concretely tying him to the crime. Now, we don't know what Michael's official sentencing will be as of this moment, because it has not yet occurred. Like I mentioned earlier, it is set to happen. I think it was March 10th of 2023, but he is expected to be behind bars for quite some time. The loved ones and family members of Austin and Jessica continue to remember the best memories they had of the couple and honor their memory to keep them alive in spirit. 1 year after their murder on June 9th of 2021, a group came together near the site where the suitcase was found, and here they hosted a breathtaking vigil, and I am including photos of this in the video. Those in attendance wrote messages on floating lanterns and released them in the water. This beautiful act of love was organized by Austin's mother, Charlene Crine, and Jessica's aunt Gina. Jessica's parents, Patty and Rocky, were not able to be in attendance of the vigil, but Gina shared the following message on their behalf. Quote, "My brother's grief for his only daughter is something that cannot be put into words. On behalf of our family, I just want to thank the kind people of Seattle for helping look out for the memorial of Austin and Jessica down on Alki." End quote. Jessica's aunt Gina would also state, quote, "Austin and Jessica too helped others, and they would want to say thank you themselves. But unfortunately, the sad reality is they will never be able to say thank you themselves. Instead, some depraved old man awaits trial for their murders. Somebody who lived 2 very different lives gets to breathe the air around him, but not our beloved children. The wheels of justice will continue to spin round in this case, and his accomplices are next up, because we won't have it any other way. But for all those who partook in their deaths and who helped hide this horrific crime, to hold each one accountable. Jessica and Austin washed up on this beach because they wanted to be found, and they are watching down, protecting those they love, when they fire and pierce to those whose number's up next in this whole ordeal. You are angels now, Austin and Jessica, always and forever together. We will never forget." End quote. So that concludes the TikTok murder case of Austin Wenner and Jessica Lewis. Please let me know what you thought of this case. It's so sad to me, and honestly quite bizarre that it all came about through TikTok. I wondered when I was researching this case, what would have happened if the girls weren't using that Randonautica app to find these coordinates. Like, would the suitcase ever have been found, given that it was kind of a remote location, or would it have gone on much longer? there's so many what ifs. And I'm also really curious if you think that Michael murdered these two people, given that I guess technically there was not much evidence found at his house. Let me know what you think, and then finally, please let me know what you think about this audio. I actually think it's much easier to film with this microphone, but I have no plans of getting rid of the Blue Yeti either, so let me know all the things, please, and thank you for being present with me in this space, and until next time.